I want you to think back to the worst chapter meeting you've ever been to. Maybe it started 15 minutes late because nobody could find the room key. Or maybe someone gave a 5-minute report that could have been an email. Or maybe you sat through a 45-minute debate about what color the tablecloth should be for the spring banquet. And at some point during that meeting, you looked around the room and you saw it. Glazed eyes, phones under the table. Here's the thing. A bad chapter meeting isn't just an inconvenience. It's a leadership moment that sometimes gets lost. And today, we're talking about how to get it back. Welcome back to Leading for Good, the Alpha Phi Omega Story, and our national podcast. I'm Chris Meschuk. A quick note before we dive in. If you haven't listened to episode 3 yet, go back and check that one out first. Because we talked about motivating members without guilt or pressure. And a lot of what we're going to cover today builds on those same ideas. Because a meeting is really just a live test of everything we've been talking about this season. So today we're going to break down what makes chapter meetings drain people and what actually makes them work. A bad meeting isn't a logistics problem. It's a leadership problem. It could be a clarity problem where people don't know why they're there, or a culture problem where people don't feel safe enough to participate, or it's a purpose problem where the meeting doesn't connect to anything that members actually care about. And all of that, it's fixable. So joining me today is Vidushi Agarwal, who's the president of the Alpha Alpha Xi chapter at University of the Pacific. So welcome, Vidushi. Super excited to have you join me.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Good. Okay, so quick framing for everybody before we dive in. Tell us your APO story.
Yeah, I don't think my APO story is anything that interesting or out of the ordinary, but I joined a year and a half ago in the Mark Allen Stratton class. I walked onto campus and Greek life is everywhere. There's like a million booths. I'm like, okay, this is so overstimulating. What am I doing? All my friends, they were looking at socials, they were looking at professionals, and I was walking around and I was like, you know what? Like, might as well try one. So I saw the APO booth. I think it was like one of the first ones I saw, and I was like, why not? Let's just go. And then, yeah, that was low-key my story. I saw at my first Rush event, I met like the coolest people ever. And I was like, okay, they're really chill. Let me just keep going back. And then here I am, literally. But yeah, since then, I've held a couple of positions. I've held sergeant, I've held vice president of fellowship, and then now president.
It's awesome. And what I love about that too is so many people's APO story is similar to that. So let's dive in here to the topic. Take me back to a meeting in your chapter that you'd rather forget. Like what went wrong and what did it teach you?
So actually, I would say it's quite recently, like last chapter, actually.
Oh gosh, that's great. Okay.
Loki, even though I've been a chapter president for a semester, I'm still definitely learning. Like every single day, like it's a new challenge. But recently we just had our CAPS meeting and it was my first one. It was my first like one that I was present in running. And I will say there was definitely ups and downs. It was definitely an off day for our chapter. We were literally in the middle of midterms. Everyone was stressed and you could tell like people were into it, but they would rather be studying for their exams. I think that meeting stuck out to me the most as being like one I wish I could change a little because I was trying to figure out how to balance like fun and let's get excited versus okay guys, I understand, like let's wrap this up so we can get back to our work.
Okay. This is good. So let's dive into some of those. I think that's one of the hardest things when you're leading a meeting is when you're trying to read the energy of the room. And sometimes like people are really fired up and they're having a great time and like, hey, we're trying to do something serious here. Or that flip side that I think you just experienced, which is the energy is low. People are like, I'm really stressed out or I'm getting ready for finals. And you're just trying to keep them present in the room. So like, how do you read that energy or how do you run the meeting differently, do you think, based on that energy in the room?
Yeah, so well, especially in our case for our chapter, it was because of like exams and everything like that. So the biggest thing that I try to do is I try to give respect to my chapter as much as they're giving respect to me. So in this case, for example, I talked to my chapter and I was like, "Hey guys, like I recognize it's finals and like I want to speed this up too. Like I want to get out too. So as long as you guys give me the energy for example, like the next 45 minutes, I will do my power to like let us get through this as quickly as possible." So I think the biggest thing is like communicating with your chapter and being like, "Hey guys, I understand what you want and like let's just get through this. Like I will let you work. I will let you um study for your exams, but like as long as you're giving me the energy back and like you're participating, then like everything is okay."
Yeah, I really like that because uh, you're communicating up front, like, hey, here's the plan.
Hmm.
Here's what we need to do. And then we can all go do whatever the next thing is, or everybody's mind is on exams. So let's do this focus for a short period of time and then we can kind of move to the next thing, which I think is awesome. So are there times where you've realized like the meeting format is sometimes a challenge for you? It's not about the people in the room, it's the format of the meeting itself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like currently our meeting format is pretty like clear cut. It's very much like all of our presents like their announcements, like their agendas for the week, like what events we have. And then after that, we kind of do open forum announcements and then like we kind of end. It's kind of just like a good flow. But I think sometimes we realize like that's not working. Like sometimes people need like a little bit of an intermission or between, like they need something fun to break up all of this like talking and like listening. So in that case, I think one really like unique thing that we try to do is each like, like Big Little families, like competition. We try to have a lot of competition in our chapter to try to get people riled up. So we try to have like little mini games in between chapter.
Oh, fun. Okay, tell me more. What do those look like?
Yeah, so at least in our chapter, we have different like families for big and little. So we try to have like games competing. So for example, one example is like charades. So we'll have like the different families doing charades against each other in the middle of chapter. And that like tries to like break up the flow. That way people aren't like they're constantly engaged and they're like, okay, like this is something different.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
that.
I like that. That's really good. That's fun. What about those times where it's that open forum piece, different people, or maybe you're discussing a topic and you've got one of those members that just can't stop talking and just kind of is holding court on the floor. Um, or the flip side of that is somebody that you know feels really strong about an issue, but they haven't said a single thing in the chapter meeting. Like
Mhm.
they're too quiet. How do you navigate those? Is that a thing that you're watching for when you're in chapter meetings?
Yeah, definitely. Like I think every chapter has experienced the very loud people and then the people who don't talk at all. And I think how at least our chapter tries to combat this is we try to have a lot of group discussions as well. So like again, like I was saying, like chapters usually one exec stands up and says their announcements and the chapter responds, but at the same time we try to break it up and have like more turn and talk. And then you share with the chapter, and that way, like the people who are usually dominating, they're also discussing with the quieter people. And then we try to get like different people talking each time when they're sharing out to the chapter.
Oh, that is such a brilliant approach. Those small little facilitation tools like that of just like that pairing, sharing back and forth, and then a little bit of the report out, like is an instant game changer, I think, in a way to change that dynamic of the same three people being the only ones to say anything. So oh, that's really good. What's your philosophy on Robert's rules? Is it a useful tool or unnecessary formality for an APO chapter?
Okay, I don't want to be controversial, okay? But okay, I think, okay, my personal opinion is again, time and place, okay? Because sometimes I think it's really useful. For example, if we're doing elections, I love it.
Yeah.
Please have
Yeah.
Robert's rules. But sometimes in like normal chapter meetings, like too much is going on. I need a little bit more, I guess it gives order, but sometimes it's just a little lot. So I think it's definitely like
Yeah.
useful at the beginning and the end, and maybe like certain events like elections, caps, things like that. But I think my chapter in specific, we don't like to use it throughout chapter all the time because it gets too crazy sometimes.
What's something that either from talking to other chapters or from your time in the chapter that you feel like was a pivotal moment or a change in the way things functioned that you look back now and be like, oh, that was like a key thing that we did?
I think, okay, this might sound small, but again, I think it really boosted morale. And I think this is something that I talked about recently at like the sectional conference that I went to. It's like hyping each other up. So at the end of every chapter meeting, we have a time for shout outs, announcements, and open forum. So during this time, like ever since we've added it, it's genuinely like been a light. Like people have started to recognize brothers that like usually are really quiet and like people have been like, I don't know, like the morale is up, like people are talking. And like I think it also like really helps to like diversify our chapter because our chapter is so like unique. Like everyone is in so many different clubs. So just by adding that little end for like shout outs and announcements and open forum, everyone's own individual identities are being heard.
Oh, it's so good. And like take that one step further for me. So all those personalities, all of those kind of unique experiences are coming together. I think it's part of what makes APO magic. But take me a little further into that. Like, what does that mean? What does that feel like in your chapter?
Yeah, I think honestly, it just feels like a lot of support. Like in the way, I think if we didn't have that small little gesture, then we wouldn't know what's going on in everyone's lives. So just like being connected in a way, a small like little like shout out or a small little like come to my event, it makes it from like, okay, we meet once a week to like, let's like be there for each other every single time. Let's recognize when our brothers do something good.
I
Yeah.
love it. Those little moments I feel like are like they're deposits into a jar of energy that then when maybe you're having a hard time, when maybe somebody's classes aren't going well for them, that that just makes them want to engage in APO more, I think, because it's a place where I feel good, where I've been seen, where people care about me. So I feel like it's one of those culture building things into the chapter.
No, yeah, for sure. And it's just like I was saying, it makes what what makes brotherhood like deeper and it makes it like, okay, this is why we're in Alpha Phi Omega because we're actually experiencing true brotherhood and we're experiencing what it means to show up for other people besides ourselves.
If you could give every new chapter president one piece of advice about chapter meetings before they ran their first one, what do you think it would be?
I would say your first chapter meeting is probably going to be a disaster, and that's okay. That's okay. Like you can, no chapter meeting is going to be perfect. And I think at the end of it, you're going to be, what did I just do? What was that? But at the end of the day, first, the chapter does not care that much. Okay. I think when you are not the president, you're not hyper analyzing it like that. So just take a step, relax, take a deep breath in, and like know that like your efforts were like worth it. Like you just ran your first chapter meeting. Like don't worry, and like you're gonna get through it, and like whatever happens, happens. The chapter is gonna be okay. Like I promise.
It's such solid advice. And what I really like about that is it connects back to the first episode of the podcast. We had Disraeli Smith, our national president, on. And one of the things that he talked about is how APO is a place to experience, to learn, to fail, to not get it right. And that's totally okay. Like that's part of the purpose of why we exist is to have that learning opportunity. And so I think that advice is so solid that it's okay that it doesn't go well. And everybody else is not hyper analyzing every second and every moment of the meeting. That's what you're doing as the president running the meeting, but not everybody else is. And so, like, give yourself some grace.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like we're just students. Like we're running our organization by ourselves. Who's telling us what the organization has to be or what our chapter meetings have to look like? It's whatever it's in our room, like whatever like 30 to 80 people who are in the room, that's what it's gonna look like.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. That's so good.
Honestly, like another thing that I would say that I highly recommend for each chapter meeting is also like, remember I was talking about respect. It's respect also comes in being respectful of people's time. As president, I think it's my duty and my goal to make every chapter meeting as efficient as possible, but also as interesting as possible. So another thing I like to do is like I like to have like random like giveaways. Like I like randomly give away like senior of the month or like chapter of the month, and then like people get gift cards. It's like making it interesting. Like everything doesn't have to be so serious all the time.
Yeah, I remember a chapter that I advised. They would do what they called the swag bag, which was just literally like a bag with random swag in it. And whoever won it was responsible for making the one for the next chapter meeting. And you got to pick what was in it. So sometimes it was like candy, or other times it was like plastic ducks, or it random stuff, but it makes it fun, right? And they would like do a trivia game of like five fingers up, and they'd name things. And if that was true for you, that was how you won it. And so it's stuff like that, right? That is engaging, is fun, but is also, to your point, also focused. And you've got a plan in your head for how the meeting is going to go to be efficient, that balances all those things. And that prep that you do ahead of time then benefits everybody once they're in the room.
Literally. Like,
Yeah.
have a plan.
Yeah. I love it. Solid advice. Have a plan. Well, cool. This was a super fun conversation, and I love the super practical advice that you've had for everybody. So thank you so much for joining me here on the podcast.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And like any presidents who are watching this, like just take it one step at a time. You got this. Always.
I love it. That's so good. Let's move to this week's APO Sound Bites. And our National Vice President, Matt Bailey, was at the A1 and A2 section conference, and he helped me capture brothers' thoughts on this question. What's one thing that makes a chapter meeting worth showing up to?
My name is Anish Taluri, Alpha Gamma Nu from UC Santa Cruz. I would say it gives you the chance to learn about leadership, especially for people like me who had no leadership experience. You learn a lot by just being there and understanding the process of how things are run.
Warren Jung, Gamma Alpha chapter. Definitely the people. It's really fun to see everyone and just chat.
My name is Jordan Fain. I am the president of Gamma Alpha chapter here at the University of Washington. I think my favorite part and what makes showing up to chapter meetings worthwhile is just being able to see all my brothers' smiling faces every Monday.
Jada Chow, Gamma Alpha chapter. Honestly, the community, the feeling of belonging, and the people just make me keep coming back every single week.
Tiffany Ching, Gamma Alpha, the people.
Oh, I love those because it wasn't a well-formatted agenda. It's the people. It's the feeling. It's always whether something real happened. That's the chapter worth designing. So as we come to an end for this episode, here's the question I want to leave you with this week. If you asked every member who attended your last chapter meeting to rate it honestly from 1 to 10, what would they say? Not what you'd hope they say, what would they actually say? And more importantly, what's one thing that would move that number up? So here's 3 things to try before your next chapter meeting. 1, write a 1-sentence purpose statement for the meeting. What specifically needs to happen tonight, and say it at the start. 2, move at least one standing update to a shared doc, a chat, or an email that goes out beforehand. Use that reclaimed time for something that actually requires the room or engages your members. And 3, end the meeting with a specific acknowledgement. One person, one thing they did, said out loud in front of the chapter. Watch what it does to the energy in the room. So next episode, we're going to go deeper on belonging, and specifically what it actually means to build an inclusive chapter. Not the policy version, the real version. What does it feel like when it's working? What gets in the way? And what can you do about it starting now? So if this episode gave you something useful, share it with a brother or your exec board. Or better yet, listen to it together before your next meeting and talk about what you want to change. That's exactly the kind of conversation that this show is meant to start. And if you have a chapter meeting story, the good, the bad, or the legendary, I want to hear about it. Email me at podcast@apo.org. Thanks for listening. And as always, when we lead for good, we change more than our chapters, we change ourselves.